Welcome to TEDx 2022's kickoff event where we introduce our speakers. This guy over here is my co-organizer, Byron Foudy.
And this guy over here is my co-organizer, Tim Totten. Our 2022 event is on January 29th. And each year we pick a theme. We picked the theme recently. Tim, would you like to unveil that for everyone?
Absolutely. Well, I just hit the wrong button, but I'll click the right button. So this year we decided that with all of the some of the concerns going on about the pandemic we've been dealing with the last year and a half, there's been a lot of disconnection happening, sort of disconnecting from things, going back into your own pod, sort of not being connected to other people. And we think that while that's probably been a good thing for people to decompress, we're getting to a point where it's time to start connecting again. And so we've chosen the theme of connecting. We think this really fits a lot of our the talks that we've chosen this year, and it really does cover in a really exciting way, and you can go to our website and read sort of the reasons why we think so, and you'll see more of that coming out. But because we went through a very long selection process and found people that we really connected with, and their talks really are about positive connecting. So Byron, why don't you talk a little bit about how we chose our speakers this year?
Our speaker process, 115 applications were brought in this year. We anonymize all of them, send them out to a big reading committee. After the reading committee sends back their top 15s, we take the talks that have floated to the top of those top 15s, and then pretty much the executive board sits and decides from there with scores and fighting and compromise to pick, again, an amazing cast for TEDxEustis.
And actually joining us now is going to be our first such person. So Shireen, we're going to be bringing in Shireen. Make sure that you put on your camera and your microphone. Hi, it is Shireen Kassam. How are you, Shireen?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for applying to be a TEDxEustis speaker for 2022. In your regular day life, you have a pretty exciting role, don't you?
I do. I mean, it depends which part of my role you're talking about.
You got a lot of them, don't you? Yeah.
I do. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've performed across the world, from Africa to North America. I'm the host of the podcast Creative Breakthrough, where we provide informal mentorship to creatives of color. I'm the founder of an online wellness boutique, and I am a marketing manager at Walt Disney World. And when I'm not doing those, you can find me eating chicken wings.
Which is great because it brings us up to your TEDx talk for 2022, which is right now is tentatively titled "Chicken Wings Made Me Unstoppable." Without giving too much away, what in the world does that mean?
Chicken wings are a big part of my life. I mean, I love chicken wings. It's ever since I moved to America as a child, my family and I have eaten chicken wings. It became a weekly part of our routine. And over the years, I realized, like, you can't mess up chicken wings. Like, you just can't. Like, think about it. When was the last time you ordered chicken wings and they were wrong? I mean, the worst they can do is give you all drumsticks. Then I would admit that they're wrong, because they should always be flat. So what if we went through our life being like a chicken wing and not ever being able to mess up?
We're so excited for your talk. And I think people can find you online because you beautifully described, I think, is it Funny Brown Girl? Is that your moniker, your sort of title online?
Yes, you can find me at funnybrown.girl.com or on Instagram at funnybrown.girl.
That's really fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really look forward to your talk, and good luck with your you working with your coach and putting together a really an idea worth spreading and a talk to remember.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Shireen. So Byron, I think it's going to be your turn, and I'm bringing up your person here in just a moment.
Perfect. Well, you don't have to bring him from very far. This is one of our very local speakers, right from Mount Dora, Michael Andrasic. He's been a TEDx coach with us before. Now he will be a speaker next year. Michael's talk is tentatively called "How Looking at the Past Can Change Our Future."
So
Michael, we know what Tim and I know what you do and how this all relates. Share with everyone if you don't mind.
For the last 7 years, I've been helping people preserve their memories of the families that they've collected over the years. And I've had a really great opportunity to see how common really our memories are. I mean, the memories that
Mhm.
one person saves is the same memories that somebody else saves. And, you know, there are differences and variances, but looking at everybody's personal history has kind of encouraged me to take another look at my genealogy and getting back into my past. I knew my grandparents, I knew about my great grandparents, but that's as far as it went. So I started tracing my genealogy. I went back, I probably have 9,000 people on my family tree, and I discovered a lot of interesting things. And that's pretty much what fed this talk that I'm going to give.
Michael, I'm really excited because you've been a TEDx coach before, so you know what the process looks like, and you know what it takes to really get to that talk that is really going to change people. But I also really love that, you know, because we don't choose our theme in advance. I love how well your theme really fits, how well your talk really fits our theme, because it really does show that we aren't that different from each other. We can connect to other people by how much our memories mean to us and how that can change the way we deal with each other in the future, right?
Exactly. I don't think I realized that before I got into the job that I'm now doing. I don't think I realized just how much we had in common. It's amazing. I must have seen the same Chuck E. Cheese birthday party 100 times with the clients that came in. We all did it. We all took our kids there. We all have the same Christmases and Thanksgivings. And we all want to remember the same things, no matter how different we may be and how polarizing this world can get. We all at the core, we all really want the same things. We want to remember the same things.
Well, we're so glad that you're with us this year. And so we look forward to the journey you're going to be on. And we really appreciate you sharing your idea with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I'm going to bring up now one of our speakers from farther away, and that is Robin Phillips. Hey, Robin, how are you today? Wait, I can't hear you, Robin. This is the secret of the Zoom generation, is we're always on mute, aren't we? I do it all the time. So take two. How are you, Robin?
I'm wonderful. I'm excited, actually, very much excited today, because today is the rollout of my documentary film on who really wrote Shakespeare.
Well, that's interesting, because that's kind of what your talk is going to be centering around, that search. So we're so excited to have you. So the title we've chosen so far is Solving History's Greatest Literary Mystery. What made you take on this idea of a documentary about this greatest literary mystery?
Well, I saw the film Anonymous, and being a playwright and an actress, I thought, you know, it's about, it proposes that the man from Stratford did not write these works. And I thought, what? And there were so many details that just didn't jive. You know, his 7 siblings were illiterate. His 2 daughters were illiterate. And so I started looking into it, because I wanted to find out how much was the director's literary license. And it took 5 years to do it. And in seeking the truth on this, I was transformed into a more authentic person. And, you know, in this day and age, truth matters more than ever, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Now, you've got a lot of experience in on stages, and you probably can't cut it down to 20 seconds, but I'm going to make you. What's your experience been like on stage? Because you've usually done this in terms of as an actress, correct?
Well, I've actually, for years, I've produced 1 and 2 woman original musical stage plays about the lives of Agatha Christie, Edith Piaf, Eric Satie. And I did, when I started researching this idea of who really wrote Shakespeare, I put it on as a stage play. Oh, mistress mine, where are you roaming? And then I was asked to, it was so successful, I presented it at a Shakespeare group at the Cosmos Club, and I was asked to take it to a conference in Chicago. Props, costumes, lights, I don't think so. So I filmed it and presented that instead, and that gave me the idea, I know, I'll make a documentary.
Exciting. Well, we're going to have you pretty bare on our stage, just in regular clothes. So no, a lot of props and everything else. But
Hello? Is anyone there?
We know you're going to bring us a great story. Robin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Just a short little snippet of what you might be bringing to our stage. And we really appreciate seeing you here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for choosing me. Thanks.
All right, Byron, the next one is going to be yours.
It is, and as she's popping up, ah, there she is. It's Elizabeth.
Make sure she
Tran.
unmutes yourself. There you go.
Welcome,
Hi.
Elizabeth. And I think that is actual cloth clothing, but that's not, I don't think what you're going to be talking about when you're on stage. Give us a little preview.
Sure. So hello,
Audio
everybody.
preview.
My name is Elizabeth. Very, very honored to be a part of this. This has been a huge dream of mine to speak at TEDx. So I'm just very thankful and grateful that you've had the opportunity to have me be on it. I am the founder and president of Teens Go Green, which is something I started when I was 12 years old. So over the last 14 years, I've really been passionate about promoting sustainability and minimal waste. But it ended up being, so as you were mentioning clothes, trash fashion was the most appealing thing that everybody wanted to learn about, people wanted to see. And that's when I decided for my last 2 pageants at Miss Florida USA, I made my gown completely out of garbage materials from my home and office. So I'm going to talk about turning trash into fashion.
And I think maybe, just maybe, you might wear something.
Maybe, but I think you guys have to see before.
You'll have to come to the event. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, you know, you've actually mentioned, I didn't even know the Miss Florida stuff about Elizabeth Tran. So we're really excited to see more. And we're really, I'm really pleased by the age range of people that we have going to be on our stage. So Elizabeth, I bet you're used to being hearing that you're the youngest person going to be appearing on a stage, but we actually have somebody even younger. We'll meet him later. But Elizabeth, I am so excited for you. I know you have a really great path ahead of you, and you're going to bring us an awesome TEDx talk. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much. It's my honor.
All right, and we'll figure out it. See, what people don't know is I have to click a bunch of buttons to bring
I know,
people on and
yes.
off stage. In fact, so as Elizabeth steps away, we're going to bring another Central Florida speaker. Elizabeth is in the Orlando area, and our next speaker is coming to us from Ocoee. He should be popping up any moment, I hope. And he should, because I kicked him out of the one
Doesn't
side.
need like extra.
I don't know why it's taking a second to bring him in. I hope I didn't lose Kevin. Let's see, panelist. Yeah, there he is. Kevin, you just have to put your video on.
There he is.
you are.
Ah, yay.
Hello.
We have Kevin McGuire coming to us from Ocoee, which if you're in the Central Florida area, you'll know is a bit west of Orlando. And Kevin, in your daily life, you are really heavily involved in music, and may explain your microphone setup. So tell us what you do.
That's right. I teach privately. I teach violin lessons and piano lessons and vocal lessons. I've been doing music my whole life, so ultimately that's my...
Kevin, your talk is tentatively titled "Changing Lives Through Adoption." I know you applied with with the topic "A Crash Course into Adoption."
Yeah.
Why were those words really important to you?
Well, I mean, it was kind of a play on words, because I am talking on adoption and my perspective as being an adopted child into this country. I was from Vietnam, and the plane that I came in crashed. And so that was kind of my whole beginning into the whole process. Not that I volunteered, knowingly into that situation, but so it was a play on words of the idea that, back in 1975, the Operation Baby Lift movement happened. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and you're going to tell us not only your moving story, but I know you're going to be able to get into how adoption changes lives. I will tell you, I personally have a connection to that. My son was 16 when I adopted him, and it's not only changed his life, but my own. So I'm really excited to hear
that's cool.
What you are going to bring to that as somebody who's had that experience. And yes, I think it'll be quite a sensational story to hear your beginning, but I'm really excited to hear where you've taken that as you've gone in your life, and how it's changed not only your life, but the life of your mother. So
yes, I'm very excited to share it. So thank you for letting me have this opportunity.
I'm so glad that we can have you as one of our speakers, and I'm really excited to see your journey as you go forward, because working with a coach with TEDxEustis really helps you to really pull that story in. And while we're not highlighting coaches today, it should be noticed that you, Kevin, and all of our other speakers do have a coach that you're working closely with, and we hope you form a really great bond with them and bring that story to life. So thank you so much again, Kevin, for being here.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, I think the next one, I'm going to find, Byron, the picture of this person.
Okay,
So that,
perfect.
because I think our next one is a person who was not able to be here. However, we're so glad that, so I'm going to share my screen. I have one of those nice that is playing games with me right now. There we go.
I know it's charged. Okay. So, oh, not that person.
It's all right. You're fine.
Oh, that's
Just on the screen. Why don't you talk about this?
that
next
one? Okay, good. So I lost my. Oh, Renee Baker. So Renee Baker is the picture on your screen. She's one of our TED speakers coming from West Florida. I believe she's over in the Tampa area. And her topic is what we get wrong about the racial wealth gap. So from what I remember, Renee is a financial advisor, works in that, and is going to talk about the importance of education to everyone and how that education can help close the racial wealth gap as they get through life. So we start education earlier about financial topics, which are probably missing a whole lot in general schooling. We'll be able to pick up and how to educate on the racial wealth gap.
So we're excited to have her. And actually on your screen now, you should be seeing Marissa Franco. Hey, Marissa, how are you?
I'm great. So excited to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here too. You're one of our 14 speakers that have been chosen for TEDx 2022. What did it mean to you to be chosen to give a TEDx talk?
I think it means like there's ideas that have been percolating in my head that have really, really changed my life that I think could really change the life of a lot of other people. And so it just means getting the opportunity to share that and help, I guess, change the culture.
I know when we called you to tell you that you had been chosen, one of the things we explained, it's so much fun actually to make those calls. It's harder to make the calls to tell people they almost made it and didn't, but I do make those calls too for the people that were on the edge. And they usually are very friendly and kind. But calling you and being able to say that you were chosen, really what it meant was that you had appeared at least on 3 lists of readers in their top 15, and that we were really turned on by your idea, so to speak, and that your idea really spoke to us. And your application was very effective at telling us exactly what you wanted to talk about. The title that so far we are using for your talk is Why Friendship is Just as Important as Romance. Can you unpack that just a little bit and give people a short preview of what you're going to talk about in more detail on January 29th?
Yeah, I think all of us have received these cultural messages that we need the one and that we need a puzzle piece to completion. And as a friendship expert and someone writing a book on friendship, I'm going to talk about why that doesn't make sense and why it hasn't been true historically throughout our society, why friendship is primarily where we used to go for romance and spouses are where we went for practical reasons and resources, and why there's no reason why friendship can't be at the center of our lives in terms of friends being life partners or friends sharing health insurance.
Oh my goodness. There is so much I know you're going to bring to it, right, Byron?
Yes, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's even adding to what you talked about in your application, and we love that. Have you gotten a chance to already talk to your coach and start sort of having a conversation about what your talk is going to be about?
Yeah, she's already given me some great advice. I actually met with her today and got some feedback on my initial draft.
Oh, that's so exciting. Now, we know this is a sort of a long time, like preambling before the actual event, but other TEDx speakers will tell you it does take a while to get that perfect thing. And a TEDx talk kind of becomes a calling card for people. Does it make sense to you why we chose the theme connecting after hearing your idea of your talk?
Absolutely. I mean, I think my talk is fundamentally about connection, the idea that one person can't be our only connection and that we need to find fulfillment, not just from the one, but from the many.
Well, talking to you already, it makes me want to go, like call my friends and be like, hey, Hottie, how are you? I don't know, I'm just teasing you, but I want to be like, I'm starting to think about, wow, I really do make seriously good connections with friends, and I do feel strong feelings for them and don't recognize what that is. So I really love that. And I'm so excited to hear more. Like, we do this because we want to hear your ideas just as well as we want to share them with anybody else. And yours really is we're so excited to have you. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we can't wait to see you in January. All right. Thanks, dear. All right, let's see if the next one is another person who is not here, but let me pull up his picture.
Okay.
Now, I heard he's on an airplane right now.
So what?
Is that right?
Yes. What airline's not going to let somebody do a Zoom
It
call
would
with
be a
us.
little, it would be a little weird from 15F to be like getting on a Zoom.
I mean, as long as he's not in the emergency exit row or something. But this is Keenan Birch. He's a speaker coming to us from Southlake County, if I remember correctly.
Maybe Kennan. Actually.
Kennan, did I say it wrong? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, so it is Kennan. I see that. I like me better when I'm around you is the working title for his speech. And Tim, can you explain that just a little bit better for everyone?
Yeah. So Kennan is a branding expert, and he's going to tell a really great story about someone who said this to someone else, and how companies can use this to create branding that makes people feel more comfortable around that brand. You know, you get it sort of a brand does something you like, and therefore you feel more comfortable when that brand's around. But also, I'm really thinking we're hoping he kind of touches also on how you can use that personally and use that to do better connecting with people. So we're really excited that he is going to be joining us. And if he wasn't on a plane, he'd be here to explain it to yourself. But that was scheduled before this was. So we couldn't get him. It didn't make sense to change his flight. But Kennan, we're so excited to have you with us. And he is an expert in the field of branding and is going to bring us a really great presentation. Now, coming to your screen as well is Tori Kubik. Tori, how are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and it's nice to see you upright and completely limber. Half the time you spend it, am I right? You spend inside boxes and contorting yourself?
That is correct. Yes, I'm a professional contortionist. And I've been doing that, touring the world and doing different shows, but it's taught me a lot more than, just the physical or the performance aspect. It's
but
about myself.
That is that's a very specific thing to get into. So, I mean, yes, to get into the box, whatever. But I mean, no, like that's a specific thing to say, I want to do this. So what led you to decide that you wanted to take on this thing that we normally only see, in Cirque du Soleil or in sort of, Asian, heavier Asian type dance troupes or whatever else?
Yeah, so I grew up dancing and doing gymnastics, and there were really great parts of that, but there was something missing. I dealt with a lot of trauma and anxiety from those art forms, and they were beautiful and taught me a lot. However, there was something missing, and I knew I needed to find something else. And eventually, I was an adult. I was started late, but I transferred to contortion, and it's hard to find. Was in New Jersey, New York City, and I couldn't find a proper coach. So I had to go to Vegas, and then I had to go to Mongolia because I wanted to study a specific kind of contortion, because it's the kind that I researched that I knew would be the best, the most beneficial for an adult to train. And when I got there, I had to train with, the beginners, like the 5-year-olds, the 7-year-olds. And, it was just me and the beginner class, but I just kept going and going, and it taught me a lot about turning in and meditating in a way. And
so
it definitely
that kind of brings us to a little bit to your talk title, which is right now, Think Inside the Box. Give us a real short preview of what you're going to talk to us about, what you've learned through all of this training to be a contortionist.
Yeah, so, when we're young, when we're in kindergarten, we learn to, think outside the box. That's what everyone kind of tells us. And I remember, hearing that in dance class and learning it in school. And that is great. I think creativity should be promoted, and we should keep connecting to others. And that's how we kind of do that. But we also have to connect to ourselves. And we lose the sense of self so much because there's an overload around us. We have so many tools, but there's such an overload, we don't know which ones to access. And I think if we know how to turn inside, then we'll be able to access the external tools so much more efficiently. And that's what I learned in contortion, ironically. I had to go inside, and I saw the world completely different.
Well, we are excited to not only hear what you're going to tell us and talk to us about that idea of thinking outside the box and connecting with ourselves, but also possibly we might see a little demonstration, maybe if we can talk you into maybe a little contortion or getting inside the box. Or
Maybe you could twist my elbow.
You might be able to twist your arm. I'm not sure I can twist her arm enough to make her do anything because she's used to it. Well, listen, Tori, it's so wonderful to have you with us, and thanks for being on this presentation tonight.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to listen to the other speakers. I'm already super inspired from everyone else as well.
We look forward to seeing you in January. Thanks. Well, I'm going to bring up our next speaker, and Byron, as she gets ready to come to the screen, why don't you share?
Dr. Nall is with us, or first Katie Nall, joining us on the screen. What a timely talk. This title, wait till you hear it. Science is not the truth. It's not the truth. What? Are you lying to us? Of course not. Go ahead, explain.
Oh, I just really believe that science is not the truth, because they are not only searching, but they are researching. And when they find something new, that doesn't mean that they lied. That just means that they found more information. And it's kind of along the lines of Robbins searching for the truth. And so it ties in that concept that that we as many scientists need to always be searching for our own truth as well.
Katie, you have some great experience as a TEDx speaker already. You've spoken before. None of our readers actually knew that. We took all of the identifying information out of every application so that they were chosen just on the strength of the idea. And one of the things that Byron and I and the rest of our organizing team, who you'll meet in just a little bit, we all sort of have watched TEDx conferences in the last year and a half address coronavirus head on. One of the things we really liked about your talk is that we've heard from a lot of people who maybe are distrustful of the CDC or elsewhere because sometimes the truth changes as more research is done. And your talk hit us so strong as a way for us to maybe not talk about coronavirus directly, but to talk about what the science looks like, and the fact that science is always searching for the truth and a better truth and more understanding and researching. So we're really glad that you're able to be with us, and we hope that that what you bring to our audience is going to open their eyes to all kinds of science and how it works.
I'm so excited.
We're so glad to have you. Now, have you had a chance already to connect with your coach in some way?
Okay, don't tell anyone else, but I think I got the best coach.
You think you have the best coach?
Yes.
Who's your coach?
Heather
Elmadi, who is our very first TEDx speaker, and who also puts on a TEDx conference of her own at Lake Sumter State College, TEDx LSSC. So while I can't say that you have the best coach, I know you have a really good one. So I can't say that because there are other coaches, and I love them all, so we can't do that. But yeah, she's very lucky, and we know you're going to have a great journey. So hey, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in January.
Thank you.
All right, well, give me just a moment to send you back to everyone else in the webinar portion. So it'll take just a second. And we're actually bringing someone on that had applied in the previous year, Byron, and her application was amazing at that time. And but because of the way that the system works, it didn't fit with that year. Therese Roth, how are you? Yeah, I can't hear you, but that's because you're on mute, just like all the rest of us that ever have been in Zoom. Therese, I'm gonna while you put yourself back into this realm, you had applied before and it just wasn't the right time, but now you've had a couple more years under your belt, you've had a little more experience, and in the meantime, I made sure I went to your amazing bakery. You've been to Allison A Bakery in Mount Dora?
Yay, thank you.
You could tell.
Thank you.
It's really fantastic. You're going to talk about trading your career for your passion. And we know for some people, those are the same thing, right? For some people, they're able to make their career their passion, but you got started on a different path and then sort of took a crazy other turn. Well, not crazy, but an unusual turn, right?
Oh yeah. I started on a very different path. I went to school for many years to become an emergency medicine physician, and I worked for about 13 years as an emergency medicine physician. And then I had a big change of heart, and now I am a small business owner, a baker, covered in flour most days, and feeding people lots of treats.
So tell me, because I think this is important and will really feed feed, sorry, into your talk, which is obviously emergency medicine is an extremely, it's a demanding job. It's obviously one of those jobs that we consider highly prestigious. You've gone through all that work. But if it doesn't fulfill you, so tell me a little bit about what you get out of running your bakery and doing that you didn't get with no fault of emergency medicine, but it just didn't do it for you there, even though you were in a prestigious job.
Well, I think because, baking is my passion. I love everything about it, from making up a recipe to, perfecting it, to seeing how people react to it when they like it, to providing wonderful treats for people for different special occasions. And, it's so rewarding and it's so fulfilling. And, even though it's much harder work than working in the ER, it's just so fulfilling. And I'm just, I'm content.
Well, that is fantastic. I have a couple doctors in my family, and I know that it is their passion, and they would not switch that. So what I love for you is that you were able to find that, even though you had been really pushed into the medical field. I think the story you're going to bring to us is more than just a, hey, you can do it story. You're going to really teach us a little bit about how people can sometimes be pressured to do one thing that's opposite of passion. Maybe how we as a culture can do a better job of encouraging passions rather than creating these expectations for people that may not fit with their passion. So I'm excited. I'm also just going to tell you right now, I don't know if you make brownies, but I love brownies. I'm just saying, you could always see how much I love them. So you could. All right, well, Therese, thank you so much for joining us, and we will love to see you soon. Okay, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Byron, why don't you introduce our next?
Yes, okay.
He'll unmute himself.
Perfect. So, we talked about having our youngest TEDx speaker, and here he is in his gaming chair instead of an office chair, it looks like to me. So that's very teenagery, but this is, and I hope I remember from 15 minutes ago, Leo Liu, building connections between generations. How did I do with the pronunciation, Leo?
That's awesome. Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
You're like one of the only people who pronounce it right, not like my school's teacher.
Well, my name is Byron, and I've been called Brian my whole life, so I'm very sensitive to when people call other people the wrong name. Right, Tim? Oh, sorry.
Hey, Leo, you brought us a really great idea about ways to build connection between generations. That there's quite a bit of generational divide. And I mean, I know that from my generation to older generations, also to younger generations. And you've done a lot to connect with people in your time. So tell us a little bit of your background and what drives you in your life.
Sure. So let's start with the story. Okay. And a day of 2020, I came to America from Hong Kong, which is a city that is in China. I think you all know about that city. And what I discovered during this trip, during this adventure or journey, is the generational division is happening globally. What is generational division? Let me give you an example. So to those of the old people here, let's say, have you ever imagined in your childhood that everyone will have a cell phone? You can use it to call, to text, or even to order the food. After 30 minutes, there's some food knock on your door. Have you ever actually imagined that before? Well, I bet some of you did not, right? Once I was not in America, I think that, okay, in Hong Kong it's happening, but how about America? Is it happening as well? In America, I met my first friend called Jackson. I asked him, why are you so sad? He said, oh, because my mom said I have a headache because I am always on my phone. I did some research about that. No, you're not. That does not affect anything. You're just on there for like 15 minutes. Doesn't really matter, right? So I discovered that generational division is happening globally because I experienced the whole thing, the same thing in Hong Kong.
Well, we know you're working with your coach already, and so we're excited to see what you bring to us. And you're going to come to us from, I think you live in Massachusetts now?
That's correct.
So I'm glad you're going to get to travel here and maybe see, more of America, but also to bring a really great story and a great idea to people who will be, a lot of them, in different generations from you. So it's gonna be nice to hear from our youngest generation and sort of hear what's affecting your life and how we can do better to support you, but also to understand better. And so that's exciting. We're really glad that you're here with us today.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Thank
want
you
to
so much.
if you want to research the older generation, Lake County, Florida,
It's a great place to come. We got
great place to come.
We got a lot of older generations. Hey, Leo, thanks for joining us. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is, we only have two left, which
Two
is
left,
pretty
yes,
impressive. We're doing this
absolutely.
pretty quickly. You should be very happy. This is not a 4-hour program. And we're bringing to the screen Tia Young. Tia, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. Can you give us just an idea of your background and what you do on a daily basis?
Yes, I'm the founder of Tia Young Image and Etiquette. So what I do is teach soft skills for success to my clients. So good manners, proper protocol, social skills.
I'm fascinated. How do you, where do you get your clients from? Now, I don't want you to go too far into detail, but who are your typical people that you're talking to?
Well, as you can see, you talked about airplanes a couple of times. A couple of the speakers you see behind me, I have an airplane. I'm a former international flight attendant. So I've seen a lot of bad manners during my years. I've flown for 14 years and I stopped flying to become an etiquette coach. So I've been doing this 20 years now. But just bringing back the lost art. My mom always taught my sister and I to be nice and polite and have great manners, say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, no, thank you, those kind of things. And I didn't see it growing up outside of the home, traveling around the world. So I just wanted to bring the lost art back of good manners.
I think you're probably happy you're not on planes right now, because there's a lot of etiquette not being used by some people on planes at the moment. I have some good friends who are flight attendants, and the stories that I hear. But your talk is titled "Etiquette: The Lost Art," and one of the reasons why we were so excited, that the entire group that chose talks was so excited, because the other than coronavirus, the other most commonly discussed thing right now in TEDx world is political strife, social media echo chambers, all of these things that are pulling people apart, that are stopping that connecting, right? And we don't want to hit that head on, because we think it's not as interesting to just say, let's talk about why people aren't nice to each other. But you came around at the exact right time, brought us this idea of teaching people etiquette, and we think it's going to be so valuable. How is learning better etiquette going to make us a better society?
Well, it's really simple when you think about it. It's just being polite and kind, being considerate of others' feelings. That's all it is. And as we, was it Leo that was talking about the generational differences? Now that technology has taken over, we've forgotten about those soft skills. So it's just kind of reminding us about those soft skills and modernizing it in some way or another.
Well, Byron, I don't know about you, but I'm so happy to have Tia on our stage, because it's a lesson we really need to give people again.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
We have to be on our best behavior.
Well, I'm going to be learning from her too. I'm doing it as much for me as anyone else. Thanks, Tia.
Thank you so much.
Well, joining us now, Byron, is a friend of ours, and we did not choose him because he's a friend of ours, because again, we anonymized everything. No one knew who he was. Why don't you introduce our last speaker?
Sure, of course. As you can see from his office there, Leesburg High School, it's the principal of Leesburg High School, Michael Randolph. And he's talking about changing the narrative of a school, and he does that through social media primarily. So go ahead, give us a preview of how Leesburg High School is a better place because of you.
Yeah, but start with what Leesburg High School was when you first took it over, because I remember the reputation of Leesburg High School before you changed it.
Absolutely. And thank you guys so much for having me here tonight. And again, we're very fortunate to work a part of a team as well. So in 2017, when we started our journey at Leesburg High School, we had a lot of other people telling our story and really controlling our narrative. So our goal over the last 4 to 5 years was how to take control of that narrative through various platforms, especially through social media. Now, a lot of people say, whoa, social media as a high school principal, that's not where you want to be, but that's exactly where we want to be, because we want to be at the fingertips of our students and of our parents and of our community at all times.
You know, Michael, that's where I don't live in Leesburg, I live in a neighboring community, but I remember seeing all of the stories about Leesburg on social media, the people who were worried about fighting and you know, dangerous things, and the school not doing a great job of teaching kids and all the other things. And you didn't hear any of the good stories because those don't make the headlines in social media, do they? Unless you're driving that narrative. But Byron and I have both been able to come to the school for various things and see what you're doing to positively affect the pride that your kids have in their school. And I got to tell you, I don't recognize your school anymore. And I mean that in a good way. I don't recognize it as the old Leesburg.
Can I tell you, it's all about celebrating our students, our teachers, and our community. We are so blessed to live in such a great community that supports Leesburg High School hand over hand. So my goal and my job is just to celebrate and to break down the walls and to make sure to show the community the great things that are happening inside the doors of Leesburg High School on a daily basis. Because again, we have amazing things that are occurring with our students, teachers, and community.
Michael, tell me, when you started to change the narrative of your school, taking control of that social media presence and putting out stories of positivity about your students, how did that change the students? And are there some metrics that show what effect it's had?
Absolutely. Every single day for the last 3 years, we've shared 180 days of joy. So we've shared the best part of our day on social media. As a result of that, we've worked with our district and we've linked our Facebook page to our district website, and we've completely changed the algorithm on Google for Leesburg High School. So when you Google Leesburg High School now, you are driven to our Facebook page and to our website because those are our top hits. So for families that are moving in, they are finding out about our Cambridge Advanced International Certificate of Education program. They're finding out about our construction program. They're finding out about our fine arts programs and our CTE programs, instead of hearing other narratives about our school. So it's been a fun journey, and really using social media to help kind of take the bull by the horn, so to speak.
And how has that affected the performance of your students? If they're not having to see all these negative stories about them, they're hearing and seeing positive things. Has it changed the way they see themselves and how they perform?
Absolutely. Success breeds success. So our students are able to see themselves in a successful light on a daily basis, broadcast all over on their fingertips as well. So our students have really started seeking out being a part of 180 Days of Joy. And that's when you know that it's really changed the culture of your school. When you have students that are seeking to be in a picture with the principal because they want to be featured on the website with him, that's a good thing. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And not just me, it's about trying to be caught doing positive things for our community and for our school.
We look forward to seeing you in January. Thanks, Mr. Randolph. Well, I'm bringing up a few more people to be on our screen, and we have our she doesn't know she's on screen right now.
Hi, Robin.
How are you, Robin?
Hi.
So if you want to take just a moment and tell people how and where they can get tickets while we bring our two curators on the screen. Go ahead, Robin. Why don't you tell people how they can get tickets for our event and the different types of tickets they can get?
Okay. Well, the place to get your tickets will be on our website. You can also click on the Get Tickets link on our Facebook page, TEDxEustis. But TEDxEustis.com always has a lot of really good information. And if you run into people that talk about wanting to be speakers or coaches or concierge, they can go to the website and learn all about that. So I encourage people to use the website. We have two different types of tickets this year. We have our regular ticket for just a single person, and that is a $50 ticket. And we also have a ticket where they will actually be sponsoring a high school student. They do not pick the high school student, the high school will, and that ticket is $75. So they can buy.
Both of those tickets will include lunch for either the single attendee or the single attendee and the student. And it's exciting because this year, Byron, we have a great venue, don't we?
We have a great venue. So those of you that have followed our journey over time, our very first venue was cute and quaint, and freezing cold. But we outgrew it. And then last year we needed to have an expansive venue because we were dedicated to having a live TEDx event. And we did that by having a venue that was grandiose and only half filling it. Well, this year we are very happy to announce that we are partnering with Eustis High School right here in town, right down the street, and that will be our venue. We are able to use our auditorium.
And the cafeteria.
And the cafeteria for lunch. So we'll have everything all self-contained on campus. And we're very happy to have that. You know, as many of you know, we asked the video team from the high school and their teachers and mentors to be the videographers for our event. So they're going to have some home field advantage there.
And we get to those student tickets that are sponsored by those people who feel generous enough to spend an additional $25. Those will be chosen by the faculty and staff at Eustis High School for students to be able to have their own TEDx Eustis experience. And we think it's important, as you might see from the speakers we've chosen, to encourage all generations to participate. And I think it'll be really great to have some young people also involved. Now, speaking of that selection process, we have our two co-curators here, and they're the ones who are working so hard to get our speakers and their coaches ready for the day of TEDx. We have Peter Kanjosian. Hey, Pete. And Tim DeTellis. Guys, thanks for joining us and for leading this this drive to put on the greatest TEDx conference that anyone has seen anywhere.
This is historic. It's going to be exciting.
You know, both of you have been involved for many years in the past. Tim specifically as a speaker, and Peter has, I think, probably watched more TEDx talks than anybody I know, and he's got a lot of great experience and is a great cheerleader for our speakers. Tim, what are you looking for to put on stage? What kind of what's the overall goal of what we get on our stage for January 29th?
It's really about an authentic story and an idea worth spreading. And what we really love watching are the speakers that present an idea that really captivates our attention, but then becomes something so unique. As you know, there's a lot of conversations we can have about how to connect in a world that is disconnecting, but their perspective or their point of view kind of brings us back together in a new perspective. And that's what we're really thrilled about for January 29th. Not going to want to miss it.
Now, you know, Peter, I could have asked Tim this question, but I think I'll ask you. One of the great things, and I think our theme really fits this, is not only do we get the speakers to be able to give the talk of their lifetime, but often they connect really well with their coach. And so you've paired up people with coaches. What do you hope that they get out of this other than just giving a TED Talk?
They're going to be able to establish a real connection with these coaches. This year, more than any other, I think we've paired up coaches with the exact speaker they belong with. I'm real happy with the way things worked out.
Well, I know our coaches are looking forward to it, and it is great. Tim, you can tell us that sometimes you can get a coach that you did not know that you were going to make a lifelong connection with. Isn't that right?
That is correct. I spoke for TEDxEustis 2020, and my coach, Mike Worf, and I are still lifelong friends, do a lot of meetups and coffee and go over his house for dinner. He's come over my house for dinner. And you know, it's really about helping that speaker release that idea and structuring their talk to be as authentic as possible. I think one of the things I love about TEDxEustis is you all bring to the stage not only world-class speakers, but you let their ideas be extremely unique to themselves versus, oh, we want to kind of copy the rest of the world. So it's a one-of-a-kind event, and it's a world-class. So it's definitely, right now, I think we're in these formative moments right now as the speakers are writing their first drafts. And I'm telling you, today, Peter and I were on a conference call with one of our speakers and her coach. It is energizing, and we are so early in the process. And the process works everything out to even be better come stage time on January 29th.
Well, speaking of January 29th, we do a run through with all of our speakers on the 28th, but we also need all of our support staff. So as much as the speakers and the talks and all of that is really important, we can't do that without the people who help make it happen. And Robin, as the operations manager, you're involved with so much behind the scenes that people won't see, but you also need some frontline people. So are you still looking for concierge staff?
Yes, I am. I need 20 bodies, 20. And they can be teenagers as long as they're willing to take direction and do as they are asked. It's really important to have enough people because there are a lot of things going on the whole day, both days.
So you really need people who are a little bit selfless there, because while I know that you occasionally try to allow them to sit in on a couple of talks, really they're going to be doing the behind the scenes work. That means they're not going to get that experience of the day. They're helping to make other people get the experience. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, it's really difficult if someone comes in with the idea that they are there to be an audience member rather than to serve. And you have to be someone that wants to serve to do the concierge position.
So good. So yeah, that means that if you're looking to just get in without paying for a ticket, concierge is not the way to do it. Just spend your $50 or watch the videos later, because they'll all be put on YouTube later on. We're really looking for people that have that servant heart and want to make everyone else's day really good. And they might get to see a talk or two, because I know you're very kind to help people. If they have somebody they really want to sit in on listening, that you'll work to figure out a time when they can have a break to do that.
Absolutely.
And the things that concierges do are like prepare our breakfast items, welcome people, give them their swag bag, and those type of things, and make sure that lunch is ready and all the other stuff. Is that right?
Yes, and we have to stay on top of everything because cleanliness is very important. It always has been, but it is even more so. I mean, we pulled off 2021 without any issues because we were so careful, and the venue we were in was so careful. So we want to continuously have a world-class successful event that is appropriate for what's going on in the world.
I'm going to try to bring everyone back up that is one of our people. So everyone else, you stay on here. We're going to try to bring everyone up who is one of our speakers this year, because I'd like to get them all on screen before we hang up. And I'm going to try to talk at the same time as I do that. So good luck, right, Byron? Why don't you talk about that? Yeah, why don't you talk about that other part?
So those of you who've been around TEDx, we have our speakers, which are a great part of our day, but we also have performers. In the past, we've had singers, we've had a hula hoop dancer, we've had I call him a rock star painter, where they play the rock music and he throws all the paint on there, and all of a sudden, a painting appears in like 10 minutes. And we've had the didgeridoo. We've had someone play a theremin for us in the past. So two spaces for performers are available right now. And the application process is simply just to send us an email at TEDxEustis@gmail.com with maybe a link to some performing that they've already done, or maybe a link to their website that they're interested in doing that. They do share the stage with you. I forgot, last year we had a juggling comedian. Also, he was a Guinness Book of World Records.
A stunt comedian. Comedian, magician. I don't remember.
I don't know. He did a lot of stuff, and he was part of the Guinness Book of World Records, and had a lot of fun with that too, as he's like juggling.
I think everyone's
sledgehammers. Yes. So those are available. We like something a little bit unique and interesting, but if you know anyone, that is open and available.
Yeah. So we're taking applications for performers. We like something unusual, different, and we're really excited to be able to take those applications. Well,
can you screenshot that for like a social media?
I can screenshot it. I'm going to do that. So everyone wants to look nice and pretty and happy.
And can we see the C?
Hold on. Okay, everyone, make your nicest, prettiest, happiest face to your camera in 3, 2, 1. Oh, it worked. It snapped. Perfect. All right. Well, on behalf of everyone here at TEDxEustis and the audience that is going to enjoy this on January 29th, 2022, thank you to our speakers. So, but 12 of you got here. I'm amazed. It's impressive. 12 of the 14. That's so amazing. Thanks to everyone for being with us this evening. This will be available to stream and view later, so make sure you share it with people. And we are so looking forward to your journey. Thanks for being part of the TEDxEustis family. We're welcoming you in, and we know it's going to be a great year. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
I got to remember which button turns it off.